There is another timeline where you're on someone's vision board. There's another timeline where someone is saving up to work with you. And a part of you won't believe it when it happens, but another part of you will know that you've been intentionally creating this all along. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi, my lovelies. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, business and mindset coach and imposter syndrome expert. How are we today? I am good, and I'm very excited for this episode. I'm telling you all about the 4 key beliefs that have personally helped me create a 6-figure and now multiple 6-figure coaching business and how they can help you do the same. But before we dive in, a couple of announcements. The first one is there is room in my one-to-one coaching for my next dreamy soulmate client. Fraud to 6 Figures is my one-to-one coaching program where we combine the mindset work and the strategy to cultivate your 6-figure identity and create your 6-figure coaching business. One-to-one coaching is perfect for the woman craving support from me in her coaching business so she can embody her 6-figure coach identity, sign clients at premium prices, feel worthy and deserving of the money and abundance that she's calling in through her business, and scale to 6 figures and beyond. You can join for 3 months at $6,000 or 6 months for $10,000, and there are multiple payment plans available, but if you pay in full, you get an extra month of coaching calls and Voxer access for free. You can apply for Fraud to 6 Figures, my one-to-one coaching program, at the link in my show notes. And if you are brand new to my world, you'll want to read my best-selling Amazon book in New Age Self-Help, You're Not Special. This book can help anyone overcome imposter syndrome and step into their worthiness, and I highly recommend you read my book if you're thinking about working with me. And you can also get that at the link in my show notes too. And now let's get into the episode. So 4 beliefs that you should adopt and embody so you can create a 6-figure business. Are you ready? The very first one is people want to work with me. And I just want you to let that one sink in. People want to work with me. So you might be showing up on social media, selling your offers, or maybe you're just doing some posts here or there and you haven't fully gone all in, or you have fully gone all in but aren't seeing the results that you want to see yet. And I bet you that you do not have this belief embedded into your bones that people want to work with you. There is an emphasis on the want and there's an emphasis on the you, especially as a coach, I had a client a couple years ago who didn't want to show her face or center her brand around herself whatsoever. She wanted to have a group that empowered women, and yet she didn't want to be the center of attention, even though she was the one running the group. And the closer we got to her being the part of her brand and the core piece of it, she would self-sabotage. But if you are running a coaching business and you want it to be profitable, you actually have to see yourself as the coach that people want to work with, as a leader that people want to learn from. I was coaching inside of the Fraud Squad, which is my smaller group program, and we talked about their own transformations and how powerful their unique stories are. And believing people want to work with you also requires you to see your story as powerful, your story as unique, and your story as meaningful and helpful enough that you want to tell it because someone else wants to hear about it and learn from you. You have to believe that you are someone capable of leading another person in order for you to think that somebody wants to work with you. I got really high a couple of weeks ago and I wrote a pretty epic caption under a reel, and it said how you're on somebody's vision board. I've had so many people that tell me that I'm on their vision board to work with one day. And I used to journal about that for real. But there are people I know who are going to hear me say this and they're going to be like, Jill, I know for a fact that I'm not on anybody's vision board. And my response to that is that you're right, but you're also wrong. Because yes, maybe this version of you isn't on anybody's vision board, but there is a version of you that is. And you are in the midst of creating her right now. There is another timeline where you're on someone's vision board. There's another timeline where someone is saving up to work with you. And a part of you won't believe it when it happens, but another part of you will know that you've been intentionally creating this all along. So the belief is, people want to work with me. Write it down and start thinking about what needs to happen for you on an identity and a strategic level for you to fully and completely believe that. This next belief to adopt so you can create a six-figure business is, I'm committed to growth and I'm an expert at what I do. This belief is more so about the duality of holding both than the actual belief itself. Because as the imposter syndrome queen, I know for certain that you have to be able to hold the two realities. The reality that as an entrepreneur and as a coach, you are in a perpetual state of growth and education and self-discovery, and the reality that you get to be an expert at the same time. Holding this conflict in your mind might seem impossible at first, but that's only because of shame. And when we are not okay with our process of moving through things or healing things, when we believe we should feel shame about the things we did or have done or are doing, we want to hide those parts of ourselves. And we feel shame that is enough to make us feel like we cannot be seen as a teacher or a leader or a guide. And it makes sense, right? Because we grow up in societal systems that do not allow us to be experts until we are through with something. Like you can't use your degree until you've finished it. You can't get promoted until you've worked at a company for X amount of time. So it makes sense that you would apply this logic to your business. I can't teach this or be an expert in this until I've completely moved through it. However, when you can hold the duality of this belief of I'm committed to growth and I'm an expert at what I do, you realize that someone is always able to benefit from the growth that you've already had. As you keep growing and evolving, there is always someone who is coming up behind you trying to find their footing. You are allowed to hold both. And as a coach, you can be in process of growth and healing and still be worthy of teaching and guiding and leading others and being paid well for what you do. I love this belief for two reasons. The first reason is I never have the thought that I'm done growing. I never have the thought that I know everything. There is always more to learn, a new perspective to see, a new story to tell. Being plugged into my own growth and healing and power without a means to an end allows me to grow exponentially faster than a lot of other people because there are no conditions on my growth. I'm definitely not telling myself that once I get over this limiting belief and heal this experience, I'm perfect and I don't need to heal or learn anything else ever again. No. As a coach, it is required of you to do the inner work so you can be tuned in and tapped in as a leader for your clients. The second reason why I love the duality of this belief is that there is no waiting required. You are good enough now. You can be paid well now. So many coaches get stuck in the learning and researching and the inner work phase that they create an identity around it and fail to see themselves as the expert because of it. But like I said, you can hold both. You can be both. The student and the teacher, the coach and the coachee, the grasshopper and the mentor. So belief number 2 to have so you can hit six figures is I'm committed to growth and I'm an expert at what I do. Hey guys, I hope you're loving today's episode. I am just taking a brief pause in today's episode to share with you a client testimonial. These testimonials are either from group coaching clients or clients who are in my one-to-one coaching program. And I can't wait for you to hear how I have changed their lives and their businesses for the better.
feel like I dug so much deeper into pieces of myself I didn't even know were there. And I was able to move through what honestly was a very difficult time in my business in a way that kept me above water, which looking back, where I am now to where I was when I first started working with Jill, I don't know if I would have really survived, these last few months and ended up really flourishing.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Now let's get back to the episode. Belief number 3 is so good if you feel like a fraud right now. It is, I have so much value to share. Now, the word value is such a buzzword in the online coaching space because a lot of people feel like they need to give value in order to be allowed to sell. Instead of me saying, no, you don't need to give value, I want you to believe that the you who you are right now is already inherently valuable. You just living, breathing, and existing is valuable. And you have so much value to give right now as a coach and in your online content. There's some logistical pieces to this that I will share with you. I think that it's insanely helpful to know who you're speaking to. And if you believe that you can lead and mentor someone and that's who you're speaking to, you should have the clarity and confidence to provide value to them. And I think that that starts from this belief of, I have so much value to share. To really embody this belief, share everything that you want to share and believe that it's enough. And then rinse and repeat. Like the content that I shared back in 2020 is way different than the content that I'm sharing now in 2023, but I'm still sharing content that I believe is valuable. This also goes for believing that your content is valuable, all of it. The testimonials from your clients, the selling content, the content about your dog, your launch, your process of investing in a coach, a story that you need to tell so you're sitting in the driveway still in your car and jumping on stories. If you feel a pull towards sharing something, start there. And from experience, I know that if you have shame about your life or how you live or the way things are in your business, it will deter you from sharing it because you don't want to reveal anything that would make you seem incompetent or not good enough for your audience. But this is a harmful mindset to have, and it's really important that you get coached through it because your brain is more valuable than you even realize. Your thoughts are worth thousands of dollars, and they will be one day. The way you do things is like magic to other people. People want their problem solved. They want their lives organized. They want money in their bank accounts. They want thriving businesses. They want healthy and fit bodies, improved relationships. The list goes on for all the things that everyday people are looking for. And your life and your skills or your experience is what will help them get that thing. Your lived experience is so valuable, but if you don't practice sharing it or practice believing that it's valuable, then yeah, you'll think that it's not. A belief is just a thought that you think over and over again. Remember that. So, belief number 3, I have so much value to share. And finally, belief number 4 to creating a 6-figure business is it's all working and it's all adding up. This belief is a combination of compound interest and emotional resilience. Your content is not a means to an end. Showing up and selling is not instantly transactional. Emotional resilience is necessary as a coach who sells her services online because the actual things you have to do that are not difficult things. You just have to show up online and post, you have to say words like work with me, etc. The difficult parts are actually the emotions that come with doing business this way, the lack of validation, the consistency it requires, etc. So, emotional resilience is necessary. It is a key part of running a business, and if you don't learn how to build it, you'll burn out fast and probably quit. Emotional resilience is the number one skill I've learned being an entrepreneur, and it's the most important one I've learned as well. And compound interest is in reference to it's all adding up because it is. Everything you do is propelling you forward to the results that you want. And it's why the belief is both it's all adding up and it's all working, because you need the emotional resilience to keep adding to your account of actions. Everything you're doing, every action you're taking, every piece of content, every time you show up and sell, you're adding to the foundation that you're laying. You are building authority, respect, relevance with every move that you make. And there really is no other choice but to believe that it's all working and it's all adding up, because you're eventually going to withdraw from this account. But you reap what you sow. And if there's no sowing, there's no reaping. So putting the inner work in and putting the outer work in are both necessary components. Belief number 4 rounds us out. It's all working and it's all adding up, because it is. So remember to buy my book, You're Not Special, at the link in my show notes, and apply if you are a good fit for my one-to-one coaching program, Fraud to Six Figures. So you can cultivate your six-figure identity and create your six-figure coaching business with me as your coach. The application is at the link in my show notes as well. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at Your Coach Jill. See you next time.